Hello and welcome to ENI UK and Europe edition. I'm Giancarlo Matera, reporting from London. We'll be bringing you news reports from the United Kingdom and Europe this week. And we also have live reporters ready to join us on standby to give their reports. In our lineup today, Prime Minister appeals for unity as England enters a new lockdown. The UK extends virus job support scheme until the end of March. Legendary British actor Sean Connery has died. An explosion of COVID-19 cases in Europe, and the EU to wait until 2023 to return to its pre-crisis economy. Also joining us live today, we have Love Anne Season. Hello, Love Anne. What will you be reporting for us this week?
Hi, Giancarlo. I will be reporting about a new lockdown-inspired art exhibition in London, which can be viewed remotely using robots.
Thank you. Also joining us, we have Ashley Spiritu. Hello, Ashley.
Hello, Giancarlo. Thank you for having me. I will be reporting on the active Church of Christ members here in the United Kingdom as they continue to hold UK and worldwide charity events throughout the pandemic.
That sounds great. Thank you. Also joining us from France in Marseille, we have Febeline Calpo. Hello.
Hello, Giancarlo. Yes, in France, I'm going to report the current lockdown situation.
Thank you so much. And joining us from EBC Germany, we have Vanessa. Hello, Vanessa. What will you be reporting for us today?
Hello, Giancarlo. I'll be talking about the second lockdown here in Germany.
Okay, thank you so very much to our live reporters. We also have a report from EBC France today, where the Iglesia de Cristo's photography competition in Belgium, France, Monaco, and Switzerland to be reported by Elia Garcia. And in our EBC Sports, we have a report on the lower league of football clubs in the United Kingdom and how they may face extinction without a substantial rescue package. And we will end today's show, as always, with our view from a window. This time it will be coming from Brussels. But first, the news headlines. Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Thursday called for a united effort to tackle spiking coronavirus infections as 56 million people in England went into a second lockdown, but with the public weary of restrictions and fearing for their livelihoods. Renewed stay-at-home restrictions and businesses closing are set to last for 4 weeks, yet have been met with skepticism that they can halt the worst death toll from the virus in the whole of Europe. The latest lockdown came into force Thursday and by daybreak had turned normally busy, bustling streets into empty towns. The government also announced passengers arriving in Britain from Germany and Sweden must self-isolate for 14 days from Saturday, the latest countries removed from its coronavirus travel list. Prime Minister Boris Johnson abandoned a recently introduced system of regional curbs and announced the shutdown after dire warnings that hospitals could soon be overwhelmed with COVID-19 cases once again. Simon Stevens, the head of the state-run National Health Service in England, urged compliance and warned this second wave of COVID is real and it is serious. Opinion polls suggest that overall the public is backing for the revived stay-at-home policy, but concerns are mounting about the impact on the economy and mental health. And dozens of lawmakers in Boris Johnson's ruling Conservative Party rebelled against the new measures during a vote in Parliament on Wednesday. To avoid extending the lockdown, he is pinning his hopes on an ambitious new program of COVID testing to detect and isolate infected people, starting with a citywide trial launch in Liverpool on Friday. Around 2,000 military personnel are being mobilized to help in the plot, which will identify positive cases even in people without symptoms. The government has spent £12 billion on testing programs, but researchers say most members of the public are failing to isolate or report their contacts fully. Britain will continue to heavily subsidize millions of workers' wages until the end of March, Finance Minister Rishi Sunak announced Thursday as England began its second lockdown. Given significant uncertainty, the worsening economic backdrop, and the need to give people and businesses security through the winter, I believe it is right to go further, the Chancellor of the Exchequer told Parliament, having already prolonged the jobs furlough scheme by 1 month until December. The scheme, first introduced in the UK, as the UK entered the initial lockdown in late March, had been due to end in October 31 and replaced by a much watered down package. But with England on Thursday beginning its second lockdown, Sunak had extended the scheme by 1 month before deciding to go much further with his latest announcement. The government's furlough program is now set to last at least 1 year, and the change follows the Bank of England's announcement Thursday that to pump the UK's virus-wrecked economy additional cash stimulus worth £150 billion, or 193 billion US dollars. As the Bank of England has said this morning, the economy's recovery has slowed and the economic risks are skewed to the downside. So we can announce today that the furlough scheme will not be extended just for 1 month. It will be extended until the end of March. The furlough scheme will continue to pay up to 80% of wages for millions of private sector workers across the UK. While England joins Wales and Northern Ireland in a second lockdown, some parts of Scotland have so far escaped the toughest restrictions. We go to news now that legendary British actor Sean Connery, best known for playing fictional spy James Bond in 7 of the films, has died at the age of 90. His family told the BBC on Saturday. The Scottish actor, who was knighted in 2000, won numerous awards during his decade-spanning career, including an Oscar, 3 Golden Globes, and 2 BAFTA awards. Tributes immediately began pouring in for Connery, who was considered one of the greatest movie stars of his generation. The star's son, Jason Connery, told the BBC that his father died peacefully in his sleep overnight in the Bahamas, where he has a home, and after having been unwell for some time. Connery claimed his Oscar in 1988 for his Best Supporting Actor in his role as an Irish cop in The Untouchables. He also starred in The Hunt for Red October, Indiana Jones, and The Last Crusade, and The Rock. But it is his smooth Scottish accent portrayal of the suave spy 007 that he will be best remembered for. The first actor to utter the unforgettable Bond, James Bond. Connery made 6 official films as novelist Ian Fleming's creation, giving what many still consider as the definitive portrayal. Connery will be honored in a private funeral ceremony with a memorial event to be held later, according to his publicist. In an interview on Thursday, the World Health Organization, or WHO, in Europe, said it was seeing an explosion of COVID-19 cases in the region. Regional Director for Europe, Hans Kluge, added that the mortality rate could be seen rising little by little and warned about a little bit of a rough time. In the 53 countries in the region, including Russia and countries in Central Asia, the World Health Organization reported a total of 12 million cases, with close to 2 million in the past week alone. They have called for coherence and predictability, proportionate target measures, and widespread use of face masks in the region. In his statement, he highlighted that with general mask wearing and strict control of social gatherings, 266,000 lives in the regions would be saved by February, stressing the need to save the world from COVID-19's lost generation. He cautioned, however, that schools should remain open and should only be closed as a last resort. He also mentioned that although the current pandemic is an immediate concern, there is much to learn in case this more dangerous virus were to appear. The European Commissioner to the Economy has stated in a press conference that the pandemic caused the deepest recession in Europe's history in the first half of 2020, surpassing that in the Great Financial Crisis. The economy's rebound of the European Union has been put on hold due to the pandemic's second wave in the region. He has warned that the region's economy would not return to its pre-crisis normality until at least before 2023, and added that the outlook was subject to extremely high uncertainty. Among the issues concerning are the higher unemployment and debt levels of the member states. The economy of all 19 Eurozone countries in recession is said to crash by minus 7.8% in 2020, and the region's leading economy, Germany, is seeing its GDP fall by 5.6%. Spain, Italy, and France are expecting a major dive. Spain is falling by 12.4%, Italy by 9.9%, and France at 9.4%. In terms of debt, this is expected to exceed 100% of the GDP in the region as a whole. The European Central Bank is asked to do all it can to offset the expenses of this debt. It's time for a break now, but please come back for more ENI UK and Europe edition.
Ang lakas-lakas ng dating ninyo.
Maganda yung performance nyo.
Magaling kung sa magaling, yung power, pero marami pa rin sabit.
Abangan ang kanilang pagtutuos. This is Tagisan ng Galing Part 2 Dance Edition.
Welcome back to ENI UK and Europe edition. Now for some more interesting stories from around the United Kingdom this week. Joining us today is Love Anne Season on a report on how a robot offering a safe way to view London's art exhibition during the pandemic. Hello, Love Anne.
Hi, Giancarlo. So as the UK enters its second national lockdown, art galleries are closing its doors, and having innovative technology could give them the chance to survive this economic crisis. Lobsteropolis is an exhibition by British pop artist Philip Colbert, and it can be visited in person or remotely from a computer or a phone via a telepresence robot, able to wander around and interact with other visitors. The idea, he says, came about during the lockdown and could represent possible future solutions to keep physical distances if need be. They have been fitted with cameras that can beam back what they see to virtual visitors, controlling them via laptop or smartphones. They can zoom into the unprecedented detail of Colbert's depiction of lobsters and large-scale paintings and sculptures. A one-way system will guide visitors through the exhibition, selecting a route through Colbert's artwork. More than 20 machines have been set to travel around the exhibition at the Saatchi Gallery in Sloane Square, London. Galleries will again be reliant on financial support from the government during the second lockdown, as they will have much fewer trade from passing visitors. But Colbert thinks robots offer an alternative solution to deal with the pandemic, and using technology in this way will be by far more common experience. The added Lobsteropolis explores the idea of coming to an art exhibition as a robot and meeting other robots, almost creating the sci-fi vision of the future where we all have robot avatars integrating into the real world. The show can be visited virtually until December 1st. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you, Love Anne. It sounds like a very innovative way to appreciate art in its finest form. But the robots, they are being controlled by people, isn't that right? Is there a risk that the robots could be driven by mistake into other machines or artwork?
Yes, there is certainly a risk of that happening, and the artist admitted some users might have to be unlinked if that will happen to their robots, and if they behave badly, they will definitely be disconnected. So think of it as if they're getting escorted out in a normal event. Giancarlo?
Thank you, Love Anne, for that very interesting story this week.
Thank you, Giancarlo. Reporting from London, United Kingdom, I'm Love Anne Season, and we'll live in interesting times.
Now, for our next story, we are joined by Ashley Espiritu. Hello, Ashley.
Hello, Giancarlo. Thank you. On October 31st, members of the Church of Christ all around the United Kingdom gathered in 14 different sites to simultaneously conduct a charity, Aid to Humanity. The Aid to Humanity is also being conducted simultaneously by the Church of Christ all around the world. The Church of Christ is known globally not just as a rapid growing religious organization, but also as a united organization active in many different charity works. When the first UK lockdown was announced at the end of March this year, it took an enormous toll on the country. However, the members of the Church of Christ all over the United Kingdom didn't hesitate in their decision to help out their fellow community. During the last lockdown, the members visited hospitals and care homes where they donated personal protective equipment for the frontline workers. Now, leading up to the second UK lockdown, the Church of Christ members continued their charity work to their community in drives for food and household items. From the London location alone, a spokesman for the charity stated that before COVID-19, their food bank would only reach 50 to 60 people. And now, because of the generous donations of the Church of Christ, they are now able to reach more than 120 people, and the numbers continue to rise. If we were to add the total number of boxes and bags donated from all the sites in the UK, it would be able to help hundreds of more people than usual. Let's listen in.
This is just really an opportunity for people to fill God's storehouse really with food that is so desperately needed within all of our local communities. This is vital at this time, especially during the pandemic. We are so grateful more than ever, really.
I think your gesture is phenomenal. I had actually been telling the staff about you coming today during the week. I'd been telling them, and I was just saying, I wish our own church would do something like this. It would be great. I think it's very, very good of your church to do it, you know.
I think we're just generally so overwhelmed and bowled over. You can't explain just the generosity that's been happening over these last few months. And, people have got just very kind, generous hearts, and they are just giving very sacrificially themselves. And it is just amazing to see just how God is opening the hearts of many to give generously.
It's amazing how much the Church of Christ continues to constantly do for their neighbours, their community, and for the world. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Is there any importance or significance of the date that this event was actually held in the UK? Or?
Yes, Giancarlo. Well, as I said, the charity event was held on October 31st. This specific date is important to the members of the Church of Christ, as it is the birthday of their executive minister, Brother Eduardo Villamanalo. This year, the members also gathered together for this charity event as a way to unitedly celebrate Brother Eduardo's birthday. Giancarlo?
But also now that the UK has announced its second lockdown, will the Church of Christ be announcing any more similar works to support the people with this new lockdown?
Well, the Church of Christ has not yet announced or held any further charity work in support of the second UK lockdown. However, as they are very active in helping their community and were quick in reacting to the first UK lockdown, we can expect to hear from them very soon. Giancarlo?
Thank you so much for joining us again, Ashley.
Thank you, Giancarlo. I'm Ashley Spiritu, EBC London correspondent, and we live in interesting times.
Okay, it's time for another break now, but please come back for more ENI UK and Europe Edition.
Mga kababayan, naharap na naman po tayo sa mabigat na pagsubok na ito. Ito yung COVID-19.
I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's safe.
Nandito po kami para hikayatin pa po kayo na maging matibay.
Mas maging matatag po tayo and just stay positive po sa lahat po ng nangyayari ngayon.
Mga mahal kong kababayan, lampasan po natin, pagtagumpayan po natin ang pagsubok na ito.
Stay strong sa panahon po na to.
Huwag tayong mawawalan ng pag-asa.
At inihikayat din po namin kayo na sana makinig po tayo sa ating gobyerno.
Sumunod muna tayo sa gobyerno dahil yun yung pinakamainam na paraan para hindi na lumagana pa yung virus.
Let's all stay at home, spend time with our loved ones, with our families.
At higit po sa lahat, make sure to pray for everyone, pray for everything that is going on right now, especially our frontliners po who are sacrificing their lives to take care of everything.
Higit sa lahat, patuloy tayong lumapit, magtiwala at manalangin sa ating Panginoong Diyos.
Lagi tayong manalangin dahil yung po ang may pinaka-mainam na solusyon sa lahat po ng mga problema natin.
God bless you and your family. Please stay strong and keep our faith.
Tuloy po ang laban.
Welcome back to more ENI UK and Europe edition. Now for some interesting stories from Europe this week. France has completed its first week of national lockdown, and with the details of some of the new measures in place, we have Febeline Calpo from Marseille joining us today. Hi, Febeline.
Hello, Giancarlo. And France has gone into second lockdown due to a sharp rise in the number of COVID-19 cases. According to the World Health Organization website, the number of confirmed cases now totals 1,509,315, with the all-time high number of confirmed daily cases at 52,150. New restrictions are imposed. Restaurants, bars, and other non-essential will be closed, though factories and farms will be allowed to operate in some public services. Also, professional athletes can continue training and competing. The virus is being transmitted across France at a speed that even the most pessimistic did not predict, President Macron said in his televised address. Unlike the first March to May lockdown, schools now stay open, but masks are now required for children from 6 to 11 years old and older, said Prime Minister Jean Castex. Universities, on the other hand, only have online classes. People need to fill out a form or a certificate if they go outside their homes, stating the urgent business like having to buy food, taking the kids to school, going to work if it's not possible to do the work from home, and going to the hospital or the pharmacy. Also, those who want to go for a jog or walk their dog, they can do so within 1 hour and no farther than 1 kilometer from home. Funeral attendants are limited to 30 and 6 for weddings. A fine of 135 euros will be given to those who are found breaking the rules, said Prime Minister Castex. That's the update on France's current lockdown situation. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you so much for that report. But for the affected businesses, will there be any help or aid coming to them from the government?
Yes, Economy Minister Bruno Le Maire said the second confinement or lockdown will cause a near 15% drop in economy. But the government will provide 15 billion euros, that's $17.5 billion per month in aid to affected businesses. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you so much for bringing us this interesting story this week.
I am Febeline Calpo from Marseille, France, reporting for Eagle News International. We live in interesting times.
Okay, now we go to Germany, and to give us more details on the new German lockdown, we have Vanessa Gauhart, who's joining us from Hamburg. Hello, Vanessa.
Thank you, Giancarlo. On November 2, 2020, Germany entered the first day of a month-long light lockdown. This lockdown is a less intensive version of the lockdown of last spring, which put the German society and economic activity to a standstill. This time, there are different regulations and rules that the citizens have to follow in order to keep the increasing infection rate at a lower level. Nationwide, restaurants and cultural leisure facilities are largely prohibited from opening their establishments from now on. Excluded from that are food delivery services. In most federal states, public meetings are restricted to 10 people maximum from 2 households. The contact restrictions serve as a prevention for health authorities, as well as keeping the entire health care system safe from overloading. In a press conference, Chancellor Merkel said, "We are in a very serious situation. we must act, and now, to avoid an acute national health emergency. Unlike the last lockdown, where schools and kindergartens were closed, the government stated that these facilities will remain open. Not only that, the borders remain open, nursing home residents will be allowed to receive visitors, and that shops will remain open with one customer allowed per 10 square meters. However, Germany's government is encouraging everyone who can possibly do home office to make use of that. Chancellor Angela Merkel also promised that firms would receive economic support if they are hit by the new measures. Companies with up to 50 employees and the self-employed will receive 75% of their income in support. Larger companies will be reliant on the EU rules for assistance, which will vary from company to company. She also stated that emergency loans will be made available for self-employed workers, while small businesses with less than 10 employees will gain access to very cheap loans. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you so much for that report. But also, can you tell us more on how the people of Germany are reacting to this new lockdown now?
Yes, public mood has been shifting and criticism among the population of government-ordained measures is on the rise. Compared to the beginning of October, 5% more people now say that the measures currently in place do not go far enough, which results in 32% in total. At the same time, the number of people for whom the measures go too far increased by 4% to 15%. Around 51% feel that the current measures are sufficient. Giancarlo?
Hey, thank you. But can we also ask, what is the effect of this second lockdown in terms of patient care and on its medical staff?
Facilities are there, however, we are still lacking when it comes to medical staff. As we have experienced from the first lockdown, we have recruited nurses and doctors from different countries because our medical staff cannot work longer than their usual shift in order for them to perform 100%. Giancarlo?
Thank you so much for bringing us that report today, Vanessa.
We will continue to keep an eye on the current situation here in Germany. I'm Vanessa Gawad for Eagle News International, and we live in interesting times. Back to you, Vanessa.
Okay, now we go to Belgium, where despite the pandemic and the living in different countries, members of the Church of Christ in the different countries of Belgium, France, Monaco, and Switzerland, they continue to connect with one another. Recently, they shared their talent in photography under the theme of faith and hope. We have Alia Garcia from Paris, France, with her report.
As we go through life, there are memories we wish to live again. And in this regard, photography allows us to capture a moment and freeze it in time. Also, this art can help people express themselves. Through a photography competition that was held through video conferencing, members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo or Church of Christ from Belgium, France, Monaco, and Switzerland were able to share their passion for photography and show their talent.
Prior to the friendly competition, a photography seminar was held where participants learned the basics of photography. The theme of the competition was Put All Your Hope in the Grace That Will Be Yours, which is the current campaign of the Iglesia Ni Cristo.
We see the picture like instantly. We know exactly what the picture is about. So I think Sister Kemi really does deserve the first place spot. So congratulations for Sister Kemi for this picture that is very inspiring.
Hardship and difficulties and that the people encounter spot. And on the right paw is she's smiling and it represents hope and faith paw. So what really inspired me,
each participant had to submit a picture, describe the message they tried to convey, and explain how the picture is related to the theme.
Through this activity, the participants were able to show their creative skills while inspiring one another, and the attendees to continue in their unity and holding on to hope. For Eagle News International, I am Maria Garcia, reporting from Paris, France. We live in interesting times.
Thank you for your report from Paris, Aliyah. In our EBC Sports News today, the English football clubs that are outside the English Premier League are the beating heart of the English game, but they will vanish unless a financial rescue package is agreed imminently. That is the headline and stark warning from Mansfield Town Chief Executive David Sharp, who told the news that a deal was needed within the next couple of weeks as football clubs struggle to survive in the coronavirus era. Football teams in League One and League Two this month rejected £50 million or $65 million offer from the Premier League, saying that the bailout was insufficient and insisting that the championship clubs should also be part of any offer. Sharp, whose own club is in League Two, which is the fourth tier of the football game, told the news that it was a brave decision taken in solidarity with the clubs in the second tier, the championship, who were not included. Away from the TV-fueled wealth of the Premier League, football clubs are on their knees, deprived for months of their main source of income, with spectators barred due to tough COVID-19 rules. Sharp told Sitting in the Stands that proudly proclaimed the name Field Mill as the oldest professional football ground in the world, said he does not expect to see fans return until next season, adding to the sense of urgency. His fear is that when the offer comes back from the Premier League, it could be just the same offer and same figure again, in a take it or leave it basis. The clubs rooted in their communities for generations will go to the wall and become bankrupt. And we end today's news with, again, our view from a window, which this week is we will be heading to Brussels, Belgium, for a tour of Le Grand Place. It is the main square in the heart of Brussels, but every building surrounding the square, such as the Town Hall, the King's House, and the Guild Houses, holds a rich piece of history. It has witnessed many historical events and had to be rebuilt many times. It is now considered as one of the most beautiful squares in Europe and is also part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Many events are being organized in the main square, but the most well-known event is the flower carpet that is held every 2 years. Many thanks to Maria Dowson from our Belgium Bureau for these videos. And that's the end of our show for this week. We hope you stay safe and keep positive, and we'll be back to bring you more stories next week from the United Kingdom and Europe. I'm Giancarlo Matera, and we live in interesting times.